Hi everyone! Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making it. My name is Anya Braun and this is...
I'm Krissy. I am here in Philadelphia. I make YouTube videos. Check them out at Quarter Life Krissy.
The link will be down below. Today we are going to talk about one of the very pressing issues for our community, I will say. For the last 3 years, it will be the Jussie case. Dun dun dun! The
Jussie Smollette.
Yes, the Jussie Smollette. We're gonna go through a lot. We're gonna go through a full timeline of events and give our commentary. So it'll be great. Before we get started, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. It would help us out a lot. Like this video if you'd like to see more, maybe collabs perhaps. And leave a comment down below about whether you think he's lying or not.
He's lying.
I'm like, spoilers. If you'd like to follow my Instagram, I am at Anya Braun Beauty, ANJABRAUNBEAUTY. And Krissy, what is yours?
I am at 1me_BUTW. So, and if you, it's 1me but W. But if you follow my my YouTube, then all of that is linked in my description.
Yeah, and it'll just be a link because it'll be there. Okay, so let's get started. So a little bit of background. We'll go to Jussie. His real name is Jesse, but it's spelled like, you know how the kids are like, this is your ussy, like this is your blank ussy. It's spelled like
unfortunate.
Yes,
spelling.
It's spelled like this is your Jussie, like this is, which it's just so bad for, I guess. I mean, bad for him, but oh well. So Jussie Jesse is a 39-year-old American actor, singer, songwriter, famous for being on the television show Empire, and he was also, did you know, in The Mighty Ducks when he was a kid?
No, and I watched that movie all of the time.
Yeah.
I honestly had never heard of him before Empire. Like, I knew that his sister, has siblings, but I didn't know who they were.
I definitely knew his sister because she's on a lot.
Yeah.
I did not know. I didn't even know they were related until, I'm sure, until all of this shit came out. And she's probably like...
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. She's been very supportive.
I bet she is, yeah.
Very,
I mean,
very supportive.
What is she gonna do? Like, you know what I mean?
That's
like,
your brother. She has to,
if your brother says he got beat up, we'll be like, okay, like,
yeah.
Empire gets pretty big in 2015. I watched Empire, did you?
No, I never watched an episode of it. Really? I heard the songs.
Yeah, some of the songs were like a real banger.
Well, I would just say the songs may have deterred me from watching the show.
Oh.
But I would love to go back and watch it now that all of this has happened. Like,
well,
that would be interesting.
I didn't watch all the seasons. Like, when the first season came out, they definitely had some good... They had some cute bops, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how it went as time went on.
I feel like it was really popular at the same time as, Power. Like, you were either watching Power or Empire, and it was, all of these black shows on TV at the same time. So I do remember, it was a moment.
It was.
Yeah.
It was, especially for 2015, very 2015 vibes. So now we move on to January 29th, 2019. I was going to say 2020, but 2019. So this is when the alleged hate crime
the attack
in
question
begins. This is in Chicago. This is at night. This is at 2 a.m. We will have the official police report. We'll get into that. On this police report, it says a bunch of things. Basically, a lot of it's blocked out for, privacy reasons. But it does say that when he went to the hospital... that he walked, he says this too, he walked in the hospital and out of it. He was not...
Yeah, he wasn't, he didn't have any major concussion or anything that deep.
Yeah, he had, a cut or something on his face, stuff like that. They said that the weapons used were hands, feet, and teeth. We were just talking about.
What does that mean?
Right.
We do know he was punched and scratched.
And kicked, presumably.
And kicked, but we didn't
the teeth?
know about
the biting? We didn't hear about the biting. But that's on the police report,
so... happened, yeah.
Right. And so the description of the two suspects or whatever people in question, both unknown. One is a male, 5'10" to 6'1", about 170 pounds. Essentially what happened was, it was the 2 a.m. He says that he was walking from his apartment. He just got there from being away for some reason. So he was like, I didn't have any food at my house. And so I went to go get Subway at 2 a.m. because Subway is open. But he did say in the... Robin Roberts interview.
Oh, yeah. He tried to go to, Walgreens
Yes,
first,
and Walgreens was closed. It's not 24 hours. So then instead he went to Subway, which 24-hour Subway?
Some of them are. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not around here.
No, that's crazy. Also, once again, who's eating Subway? Anyway, so we're going to Subway. It's 2 a.m. and apparently these people who he cannot recognize, which is like, that part is believable. You know what I mean?
I mean, it was negative 16 degrees.
Right.
Who would be recognizable? I would have been bundled.
No one.
Completely.
And when people get attacked, they're not like...
They're not going to be like, hey, my name's John.
Exactly. Like, that's not realistic. So, he doesn't really recognize them, but that's the description that he gave of them. In this description, there is no race mentioned.
No.
That will be important later. Essentially, they are throwing some slurs at him. So, apparently, at first he said that they were like, Empire, and he was like he didn't turn around. Yeah, he didn't turn around. Then they say again, Empire, they use a gay slur, they use a black slur consecutively. It says, in this police report, it says verbatim, Empire, this one, which is very also interesting because someone made a point of like, what, like, MAGA hat wearing, or he said later that he didn't say the MAGA hat thing, that he just said that they called them the racial slur, which we would assume they're not of the same racial group.
Right.
But in general, so if, like, who would be a white person who's then watching Power, or who's then watching Empire and knows him enough,
2 a.m.
right,
Recognizes
in Chicago,
him in the cold, but recognizes him.
A big enough fan to watch many episodes.
Right.
So it's already getting a little bit questionable as to what's happening, but apparently there was a black mask on both of them. They were both dressed in black, and they beat him in the face and poured an unknown chemical on him.
That smelled like bleach.
Yes.
According to Jussie.
Right. The police reports say an unknown chemical. Did they ever do any testing? I mean...
He said there were bleach spots on his clothes, but I mean, like...
Yeah, stains.
Well, I don't want to say what I want to say until later. Until we get past the police report.
Okay. There's that. He then also mentions that on January 22nd of 2019, just a week or so before this incident, he received hate mail to his job at the studio where they film Empire.
Right.
This hate mail includes more slurs of, you know, the same sort of context with the... What do you call it? When they have, like, the cutout?
Oh, yeah.
Like the Mean Girls cutout. Yeah, so you don't know their handwriting.
It also depicted him with around his neck.
Yeah.
Which tied into during the attack.
Correct. And it is also, will be, you know, whatever, known later that he does have... I did see, actually, for the first time I saw a picture of this incident, of the... And he said it wasn't... He said that he kept it on because he wanted the police to see. It wasn't wrapped around like this. It was just like this.
Just loosely on him.
Yes, and it was like a pretty, like, small white rope. That's what it looks like. And he's wearing, like, a sweater in this incident.
I haven't seen the photo.
Oh, yeah. I'll show it to you. His, like, face is blurred out. But the other important part of this is that at the time of this attack, this alleged attack, he is on the phone with his manager.
Right.
Yes.
Brandon.
Okay.
He's on the phone with Brandon, his manager, or works with him in some capacity.
He's like his agent or manager or something.
He's oblivious to all of this, completely innocent in this story.
Which is interesting because he claims, or Jussie claims, that they were on the phone the entire time. He was getting beat up, and he picked up the phone physically from the ground, and they were still on the phone. And he said...
he could hear it.
Yeah, he said, you know... I got my ass beat or something. He said, I got jumped, is what he said. And that is when the manager agent person called 911.
Right.
However, we'll get into the phone record situation later. This cannot be confirmed. It can't be confirmed. There was, like, issues with getting the phone records. He didn't want to give them up.
He didn't want to give his phone up, right.
Etc. The police ask for his phone, and this is what he said, you know, in the... interview too, is they asked for his phone, not just his phone records. And so he was saying, like, I didn't want to just give them my phone because there's, like, you know, personal photos and, like...
And it makes sense. I mean, he does have a level of fame where he knows some, like, heavy hitters, and I wouldn't want... No. I would feel uncomfortable giving my phone to the authorities too, and, like, especially, then they can find, like, someone famous, their number or pictures or anything.
Right. And especially because... He said something about his lover's phone number in there. Yeah. And so, especially if you're in Hollywood and you're messing with a DL dude.
Right.
And then that gets out because of the... Yeah.
Like, I'm sure they have some explicit content, like some videos and pictures that, you know...
He said unreleased music, like all kinds of stuff. Which is, like, fair.
So, also, like, that's fair, yeah.
It is. And I also do not, for 1 second, question why any black person in this position would be hesitant to give up information 100%. Willingly to the police that may not be necessary to the case at hand.
100%.
Because you know. So now, February 1st, 2019, This statement I thought was very interesting. Jussie says he is okay and, quote, I am working with authorities and have been 100% factual and consistent on every level. I wrote here, is that sus? Because who asked? Who asked if you were...
So I have some thoughts about that as well. I feel like in his ABC News exclusive interview, he followed that same vein and was very defensive and very like, I'm going to prove to you that this happened, when at that point, no one thought it didn't happen.
Right.
We were all kind of like, wow, that's terrible. That's a hate crime. How horrible. And here's this guy in the public eye, this happened to him, and he fights for social justice. I think everyone was kind of thinking, oh, we hope they find the guys. And then he is being very...
This is now, what, 3 days after? This is his first statement?
3 days. I want to say he was almost, like, aggressively defending himself against no one. No one was calling him out at this point. Or no one, like, not a large amount of people, at least. Maybe a few were, but for the majority, no one was calling him out.
Right. Oh, and it is also to be noted that the day before this, on January 30th, is when we have an outpour of support publicly from celebrities, such as Viola Davis, Janelle Monáe, T.I., Naomi Campbell, Steve Harvey, and more. Which I would like to just point out, I have a little note here, maybe if you are just a lesson here, a person with a platform, it is not okay to, like, take a second before you make a public statement, because now all of you guys are all wrapped up in now supporting this person who may or may not be telling the truth.
Right. And at the end of the day, this was a case that was still under investigation, and it shouldn't have been spoken on. But I do understand that people want to offer their support. I would just like,
which is not bad.
I would be more cautious, though, because you never know what's going on. And I think we saw a lot of people exercise caution when they shouldn't have. Like in the Me Too cases, they were cautious, but in this case, they weren't.
When there was many, like when you have 30 people who are like, this person is a...
Right, then we want to be cautious.
Right.
But when this guy is just making things
like,
up, we're like, oh,
serious.
I'm so sorry.
I am telling the truth.
Right.
Okay.
I do have a slight problem with that.
And this is quite literally the next day. So this news broke and people were on this ready to support, which I understand. It's just the same thing with the, like, you know, the TikTok drama where they have the modern warrior and all of this. And it's like, oh, now we take a second to think about it. And it's like, it's not adding up. I don't know what day this is, but between first and second, maybe this is on the first, surveillance camera footage shows two people in what looks to be all black, same thing that matches up with what he said, at the scene of the crime, the alleged crime, at the same time as the attack. Now, the camera that could have been recording this whole situation was facing the other direction.
Right.
So there was no direct footage. This was only two people wearing the similar clothes as described around the same vicinity in the same time. Yeah. There was apparently no actual footage of this ass beating.
The actual attack.
Right. So on February 2nd, 2019, he's at a concert, and this is his first public appearance since the attack. It's only been 3 days. At this concert, he says, quote, I'm not fully healed yet, but I'm going to. Then says, just because there has been a lot of, what does it say? Oh, just because there has been a lot of stuff about me that is, a lot of stuff said about me that is absolutely not true. So I guess by this point, people are already like, you're lying.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Then he says, he makes a comment about his lawyer being in the crowd, and, you know, people, like, famous people love to do that. Be like, oh, my lawyer's probably like, no, don't say anything. But he's going to proceed to say something. Yeah, which is like, weird flex, but okay. We get it. You have a lawyer. He says, quote, above all, I fought back. That's like a thing he wants everyone to know, that he didn't just, which is also an understandable thing if you were, you know, like a victim of an actual hate crime.
Yeah. You want people to know, hey, I fought back, you should too. This is not acceptable.
Right. Like, I didn't just get my ass beat, essentially. Like, I fought for my life, which is, okay, go off. Then this is followed up by the sentence, which I've only read it. Apparently when he said it, it was in a joking manner. It was not in a righteous manner, which I think does make it a little bit better.
Yeah, the tone matters.
It does. And he said, quote, I'm the gay Tupac.
No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah. So, I guess do with that, like, what more do we need to say about that?
I think that's a wrap on that. Speechless.
I'm the gay Tupac. Like I said, the joking manner might add to the, maybe lightheartedness of this, but just the quote itself, I'm the gay Tupac.
But what does that mean? What does that have
what
to do
does that mean?
What does that have to do with the hate crime? What like, we...
You're both black and bald.
Basically. But, like, did Tupac ever have a hate crime against him? For being
maybe because, like, they kind of thing, like, maybe he's like, this was an
they
attack
were going
on my
after
life.
him, and so, like, they were going after Tupac.
Yeah.
There was I don't even want to get into Tupac and, like, what happened to him, because you should do a video. That's a whole video.
Like, stay tuned, subscribe next week.
Hey, Jussie.
Yeah, I mean, okay, sure. That's interesting. So, anyway, I guess moving on from that, the two people of interest, at this point, they are not yet suspects, but they are the people from the cam footage. It comes out to be that they are brothers from Nigeria. I didn't write their last name down here because, I'm not really, like, trying to name them personally. I don't really care. If you care to look up the case, then you can, but I call them in here the two sus brothers.
And they were actually extras.
Yes. Oh, yes. We have
Empire.
We have that on here as well. They are, like I said, they're not charged at this time, and they're not seen as suspects. They're just persons of interest. Like you said, they were extras on Empire, and they even went to the gym with Jussie sometimes,
because they're super in shape.
If you
happen to look them up. Yeah.
They're like boxers or something, or like
probably
one of them was. I saw one of them wearing a boxing something.
It seems like they were really connected, and that in the sentencing, which we'll get to, the judge also mentioned that these brothers thought, hey, if we help Jussie, this is going to further our career. Like, they wanted to be in the industry.
Oh, especially, if you're an aspiring actor and a star of the show that you're an extra on has a project for you to work on, that's like a dream. That's like the...
an illegal project.
Well, I'm assuming he doesn't start off with the...
Hey, I got some illegal job I want you to do.
Right. Would you like to fake a hate crime?
Yeah, that probably wasn't how he phrased it.
He probably said, I have a role for you. Like, these are people who are actors, who are wanting to be actors, and so it makes sense. It makes sense why he wouldn't just pick a Joe Schmo off the street. They'd be like, no, I'm not gonna...
and they wouldn't have any loyalty to him, whereas these guys, they
look up to him.
They looked up to him.
Same thing. You're able to wield the power that you have in the situation. What are they going to do, say no?
He definitely exploited them.
On February 14th, 2019 is the interview on Good Morning America. Now, that comes out, and that is where he implies that his attackers were white, because he says something about, before he hasn't said anything about it, he says something about, if I had said that this was, I don't know what he says.
A Latino or
a Mexican person or a Muslim person, then, like, I guess people would believe me more.
Which is so unfortunate that he brought that up, because that is a real problem in our community and in minority communities, that if something happens to us, it is less talked about than if it happens to Caucasian people. For example, if a black woman goes missing, we're not hearing about it on time news versus if a white woman does. So it's so unfortunate that he used that, which is factual, and he twisted it for his own story, which was not factual.
Little bit of truth shrouded in lies.
Exactly.
Thanks, Jussie. So this is another interesting point. He addresses, like I said a little bit earlier, that the attackers were not wearing MAGA hats. He said that was, like, not necessary to add to the story, which, of course, rumor spread, which does not help anyone's case here at all. But he does mention that they say something about, this is MAGA country, insert racial slur here.
Which is Chicago. Like, is Chicago MAGA country?
And also, the people on the camera are black. I don't know.
Well, we didn't know that at this point.
Yeah, that'll, I guess, come out later, but
But this is MAGA country.
But it sounded bad.
It's Chicago.
Yeah.
It's not. I've been there. It's not MAGA country. Nice try.
Maybe at 2 a.m. it is.
Maybe at 2 a.m.
Don't know. Couldn't tell you. So anyway, he says that he gets punched. He punches them back. Then he says in this interview that he saw where they ran. But in the OG police report, if we go back to it, he says that he did not see which direction they ran in. So did you see it or did you not see it?
That's a very vital point, because he said as they were running away, he saw their stature. He kind of got some bits and pieces about what they looked like as far as their body. So if he didn't see them run away, how do we know, like, what their stature was, other than what was on the little bit of video?
Exactly. It's like things are already starting to get a little bit blurred.
It's
like, the more he talks, the more confusing it gets.
Yeah. I think he's offering information to his own detriment. Like, we never would have questioned this if he hadn't talked so much. Well, I won't say never. It would have been questioned at some point, but not this early. And he was just talking out of his neck.
In this Good Morning America interview is when Jussie says that the two persons of interest that were caught on the security camera could definitely be the suspects. Now, we do, as we know now, those people were those sus brothers, the black ones, who are not white. So, once again, very, very confusing.
Yeah, this is when the doubt starts, because why would these two black men say those malicious things to another black man?
Right. We're talking hard R and everything. Like, it's not... I don't know. I don't know. But we established that there are doubters here at this point, and he said he does acknowledge here that it's false that they were wearing the MAGA hats. He said that's not true. He never said that, which is fine. It doesn't say that in the police report, so sure. Then Robin asked him, why were you attacked? And Jussie says, I can just assume because, or he's saying something like, I can just assume it's because I go so hard against 45, meaning the 45th president, meaning Donald Trump. Now, okay, sure. I mean, also, people get hate crime for no reason. It's like, you could, like, you know.
It could be anything.
Right, you don't need to be, like, a political activist to get hate crime, but.
Yeah, sometimes there's no reason, but okay.
The reason is you exist as a person of a minority
as a black
group.
person and as a gay person.
Right.
That's enough for people to do hate crimes, unfortunately.
In this interview is when he makes a quote that is very heavy. Heavy quote. Stating, you do such a disservice when you lie about things like this.
For me, that's the quote of the whole case. That is the most important thing he said the entire time.
Because, yes, you do such a disservice when you lie about things like this. We agree. That is true.
And you want to know how? You take valuable police hours, efforts, investigation hours. They could have been solving murders, other crimes, thefts.
Or, you know, just other people getting hate crimes.
Other people getting hate
crimes.
Like,
getting hate crimes is real.
Legitimately getting... Right. That happens. And these hours of police investigation and man hours could have gone toward helping victims.
I just have to laugh because it's like, why? Like, who lies about hate crime? I don't know. It's also, I would like to mention that it's my inclination to believe someone when they say they get hate crime. Like, I think that's a pretty normal, you're like, oh shit, that's terrible. It is only after this years and years of investigation, of cases, of charges, and just of general information that's not adding up, where people are like, are you lying about a hate crime right now? Like,
is that what we've come to?
Once again, you could have just gone. You could have gone to the South. You could have gone to wherever and just got hate crimed if you were that passionate about it.
It happens every day.
It literally, like, wow. I cannot. So now we move on to, it's still the same day, February 19th, 2020, and that's when the police say that they have no evidence to support that the attack was staged. Now, this is the same day that the sus brothers, the persons of interest, also get released. Next, we have the day after, the 20th of February, 2019, Jussie gets charged with filing a false police report. Very interesting, considering yesterday they said,
here are the suspects. And
now the next day they're like, nope, it was you. So this same day, footage comes out of those sus brothers buying the same materials that were used at the alleged crime scene. The sources start to claim that Jussie had told them what to buy because he had hired them, is the story that he hired them to beat his ass, and they said yes.
Which is later proven to be the case.
Next day, we have the 21st of February, 2019. Jussie now gets arrested. I will insert his mugshot here because I will say he does look kind of cute.
I mean, it's not a bad mugshot.
No, yeah, there's
if
been
you're
worse.
like Britney Spears,
right?
Jussie was up there. He did good.
Yeah.
He did good.
He wasn't looking too crazy.
But knowing him, he may have gone to the spa before the mugshot.
Right.
I wouldn't put it past him.
True. I mean, if you know you're going to get a mugshot, it's like going for a passport photo.
And he loves attention, I will say. So he wanted to put his best face forward.
I guess that makes sense. He did also hand himself in, so he had time to, like, shower.
Yeah, he knew when he was going because he turned himself in. So it wasn't like they came in the middle of the night and got him.
It was not a Britney.
No.
It was not a Britney moment. This is where these are all the same day, I believe. This is where the police claim that he took advantage of racism because he wanted a higher salary on Empire. And my thing is, first of all, how about, like, in what world does staging a hate crime or being the victim of a hate crime get you a higher salary on Empire? This is a network TV show.
Right.
You're not on, like, The Sopranos. Like,
my theory about that is that he honestly thought that staging a hate crime, getting hate mail sent to the studio, would make him seem like he was a bigger celebrity than his bosses knew and that they thought. So then they would think, oh, wow, he's receiving all this hate. He's a big asset.
Queen.
Queen. We need to pay him more so that he'll stay on this show. When in reality, he was sending that to himself. And that doesn't mean that you're more famous if you're receiving more hate.
I mean,
but in his mind, I think he thought it would work out that way.
Is Taraji P. Henson getting hate mail sent to the studio?
Probably.
And yet she's still getting, you know what I mean? Like, why would the option not be, like, aim for a higher paying show?
That's a very
bigger role.
Extreme way to get a raise. Why not just go talk to them?
And you are it's not like this is your salary job, or like you're not on production. Like, you're an artist. You're an independent person. You can just go on another project, a different project with a higher budget who's willing to pay you more.
I do want to say that other than the police chief who said that in the interview, who said that he did it for a salary raise? Like, he
apparently
never
the
said
police.
That. Yeah, the police said that.
Yeah.
I think he could have just done it for the attention.
Right.
Maybe he just wanted to be on Good Morning America and on the news, and you know, that would be good for his career, so he would be talked about and could get more roles in addition to Empire. I think that makes more sense.
I don't think that he was like, oh, they'll give me a raise on Empire.
No.
Like, this is Empire. This is not like...
I think he thought, like, this will get me in the movies.
Yeah.
This will get me on more TV shows.
Being a true, what do you call it?
Sociopath?
I was thinking about the word when you're like a martyr.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this also says that this same time that the police make this statement that they also are claiming that he paid the Sus brothers $3,500 to stage the attack. And that's when we also touched on, I wrote it here, if they were aspiring actors, then it's definitely not out of the question that they would be more inclined to work on a project or to do something or to even bend the rules of their own morality for the sake of someone who they look up to and want to be like. Now, on the 25th of February, that is when the check comes out that was made out to the Sus brothers for... This is interesting because first the check comes out and people are like, see, they paid him, or he paid them. And then it says on the check, you know how it says like for whatever? It says like for... something having to do with, like, the name of his music video that he wanted to shoot coming up.
Oh, okay.
So it said something like diet and nutrition plan. Basically, like, he was going to hire them to be sexy buff models in this video, which also we already know you can write whatever you want to on the reason of the check. It's like...
But if you know this is a paper trail for potentially, like, something you don't want to ever get out, why wouldn't you pay them in cash?
Because he wants to prove that he was not paying them for that, is what I would assume.
But wouldn't he want to prove that he's not even associated with them at all?
But I don't think he can because they already know. They already know each other. Yeah. They're already on the same show.
That's true.
It could just be like, oh yeah, I paid them because I wanted, to hire them for the music video.
Yeah.
The video is them beating my ass in the alley at 2 a.m. They're like,
I'm weak.
Okay, this is the other thing we were talking about. On the 26th of March, now the next day, this is when Jussie, this is still 2019, Jussie is cleared of all charges, his record is wiped clean, and his lawyers say that he was a victim who was vilified and made to appear as a perpetrator.
This is where he wanted it to end. This is what he wanted. He almost got away with it.
And this is where it, quote, like, should have stopped.
Right.
Like, it's okay, it's over, it's done. But 3 days later, on March 29th, the Chicago police demanded that Jussie pay I hate saying this word, like $139,000. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Oh, really? It was that much? Okay.
Yeah. To cover the cost of the police officers, because they're saying that because they're still on he orchestrated the attack.
Right.
Then, April 12th, 2019, Jussie refuses refuses to pay, and is now being sued by the city of Chicago for triple that amount that it was originally.
Ooh.
Yes.
Cook County said, we're getting our money, period, Jussie.
Period. So, which is now, how much is that? That's like almost $500,000.
Yeah.
I mean, if 3 times 100,000 plus almost half, that's...
Yeah, I mean, he's got it, but he should
maybe
been
not
stingy.
with that Empire money. That Empire budget is...
That might have been the whole salary right there. Oh my God.
No, for real. Oh God. And that's the thing too, like, you have family with connections, like...
Mm-hmm. His family is well connected, well known. We'll get into that too.
I don't want to hear it. Next, we have the 24th of June, 2019. This is when the footage comes out. I'm going to have to blur that word. I don't know. The rope footage. And you can just see the same thing that we described before. Small rope on his, like, not around his neck, but, like...
draped around his body.
Right. Around, like, the shoulder region.
Yeah.
Now, on the 12th of February, the trial begins as he is now being charged for 6 counts of lying to police. Jussie denies being involved in a hoax, period, to this point and up until to this day. Mm-hmm. Now, we fast forward to the 11th of, I don't know if I said the last one, but it was the 12th of February, 2021, not 2019. So there's like, whatever, a gap. Then now we have March 11th of 2022 is when Jussie is sentenced to 150 days in jail and is, ordered to pay $145,000 plus a 30-month probation. Right. Period.
However, he kind of got lucky with the probation because he's still able to travel on probation, so he can work if someone would hire him.
And I will say 150 days, I mean, granted, I would not like to go to jail.
Right, but that's not the worst.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like...
Because what he did was a felony.
90 days is 3 months. Mm-hmm. So, like 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, and I think that's pretty lenient considering that what he did was like a class 4 felony. Something. Because he lied to the police, which is a big no-no in America.
In America. Correct. And I mean, is his, like, we're getting, now we're getting to just our free speaking portion of this, because we're going to I'll play for you his statement in the sentencing, his I am not blank blank video.
No, I would just like to say to Your Honor that I'm not. That's what I was about to say.
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay.
I am not. I am innocent, and I am not. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this, and I am not. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself, and you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time, I am not.
Mr. Uche, let me...
Where he is essentially insinuating that, and here's the other issue, is that, one, is it uncommon for police brutality to exist, especially to people who are already incarcerated? Absolutely not. That's like damn near a guarantee. And does it happen extremely violently and sometimes fatally to many Black people? Yes.
And have we seen nothing come of those investigations?
Yes. For sure. Complete injustice. We're dealing with another issue of complete injustice. Like, what else do you call that? And another scenario of we're also just as the baseline, even if he did something crazy, I mean, he did, but like, even if he was, getting charged or going to jail for something that he did, like if he was, I don't know, or like even worse, damaging property, then you're still a very famous, very privileged actor who people know. It's very unlikely that you are going to be unalived in prison, regardless of what you've done.
You're not even going to spend real time in prison.
Right.
No matter what
you're still
you've
not
done.
representative of the majority of people who will be victimized by the incarcerated person's police
system.
brutality.
Yeah.
So it's like, it leaves a little bit of a salty taste, knowing that no matter what you did, you still have a lot of money and a lot of famous family and a lot of people who are actively looking out for you to make sure that shit like that doesn't happen. And it probably won't.
I think it's really offensive and a slap in the face that he added this commentary to his case when we were already grappling with the fact that, you know, you made hate crimes look like a joke. You made them look skeptical. Now if something happens to somebody, people may not believe them. Police may not believe them. And on top of that, you want to draw attention to yourself by saying something might happen to you in jail when there are people who have actually gone through that and have received no justice for it. So to me, he's taking the worst things that happen to black people in this country and falsely saying that they're happening or going to happen to him. There are people who go through this in real life.
We have Sandra Bland's who still are gone.
This is not a joke. This is not a skit. This is not a hoax. Like, this is people, this affects families and individuals across the country for real. Ruins their lives. And it's just...
Takes their lives.
It's deplorable. It's absolutely disgusting that he thinks something like that could happen to him, or not that it couldn't happen to him. He thinks that he should bring attention to that for his own gain instead of bringing attention to it for all of the victims that it has really happened to.
And that it's already happened to.
Right. I think that's just so sickening.
It is. Yeah, it's fucked up. It's just really... I can't. What did you want to say about the judge when they did the sentencing quote? I don't have that.
You guys, the judge tore him up during sentencing. He had he really did. He said his statement before he actually got to the 150 days and the actual sentence.
Okay.
He said a couple of things that were really just ooh, I know that hurt Jussie. Ooh. For example, he talked about his family and how involved the Smollette family is with social justice.
And they are.
Yeah, and how it's been ingrained in him since childhood, and how they're probably devastated and really embarrassed that this happened. How he's ruined relationships in his life that can never be repaired with family, professional people, friends. The judge just really laid out to him how his life will never be the same and how he's an embarrassment. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, and it was great. I mean, I agreed with all of it, but it was ooh, I know that hurt, Jussie.
Love getting red for filth.
I know it hurt. But he also did say, hey, I can see you have some redeeming qualities. I can see that you can be a good person.
Okay.
And I think this was just a really low point for you, but I don't think you're a bad person overall. So that was really nice of him to say. It's probably more gracious than I could have been as a judge.
But I'm gonna say, is he even allowed to be that's why your mama's a hoe? I don't think he's allowed.
No, but he didn't have to say oh, I can tell you're a good person.
Right.
Yeah, he could have left that part out, but he didn't. And maybe Jussie. No.
I mean,
I was gonna say maybe he is a good person. No.
Maybe he could be. I
think he's very selfish, to put it like that.
And I just wonder, the moral of the story is we get all the way to the end here, and I'm still very confused. I feel like there's still so much, we were talking about earlier, that I mean, obviously we don't know what actually happened. I would love to see the actual footage come out. I would love to see some sort of something so we can get some concrete answers here. Because otherwise it just looks really, really, really bad.
And we talked about earlier, we still don't really know the why.
Right.
Why make this elaborate plan? Why do all this? Yeah, maybe we'll never know, why he went through all this trouble.
And if the cam footage ever comes out, best believe we'll be doing a part 2.
Part 2. You know what? There's going to be way more to this story.
There probably will.
It's not over yet.
Because what's going to happen when he gets out?
He is out.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
From what I've seen, he is out. I don't know how that happened or why, or if he's just like serving his probation.
Wow. That is insane. Well, is that all that you have?
Yeah.
I believe that is all that we've got for you here today. That was a doozy. That was a lot. It was quite...
Oh my gosh.
Quite interesting.
Doing the research on this was a lot of emotions.
Exhaustion.
It was.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we got through it.
We did. Period. Well, that is all that we have for you today. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so you can see this lovely face again. Oh, I forgot to say in the beginning too, make sure that you go to the link down below and vote for me to be on TV and win $100,000.
Vote.
Yes, I am now in round 2 and there's only 5 days of round 2, so if you see this, make sure you vote. That would be awesome. Like this video, give it a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe to Krissy's channel. Everything will be linked down below. And yeah, that's it. Have a great day. Have a great life. Do what it is that you do. And follow me for more. Bye.
Bye.